Hi, my name is Sarah Borjawi, and I'm from San Diego, and I go to Niagara Sarah High School. Students who do well in school generally have a positive mindset about school. In order to bring students up to standard with remediation, while the concept of remediation is a righteous cause, it can also work against the benefits of students. When I was 14 years old, I was told that I had a learning disability. When my school found out about this, they gave me a test to see whether or not I could learn at or near the students in my grade. When I failed, I was immediately given and put in a remediate class and told that when I was in this class I would receive extra attention on my schoolwork. But as I said, it worked against my benefit. Many times the teachers simply have too many students in their class, and it is too difficult to help every student that is having trouble. It later becomes difficult for the student to understand in class and fall behind in most of their classes. One question that I really don't understand is why classifying a student as remedial, why no extra help is actually given to the student. In my case, I was not given the extra help, and because of all of our funding was cut towards the teachers, aides, and helpers, there was no real help available. Now the real question is, how do we help the students who are below or far below basic? I believe having programs in schools where students become the teacher's aide, meaning having good grades and excellent recommendations from their teachers. They will be allowed to help in the classroom that will allow the teachers some free time so that they can review the materials at their classes and allow the teachers to come in after school to provide extra help for those students in need. Students in remediation often feel that they are not capable of learning at a normal level. In my case, I often felt stupid or dumb. I felt if I was stuck in a place where no real help was available at my school. Students need resources that are essential for their success. How do you expect a student in remediation with no resources to catch up to what you would consider a normal student? And I will now pass it over to Hyen Wang. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hyen Wang, and I'm a senior at Switzerland High School in San Diego. And I think that what it comes down to is that everything, curriculums, block schedules, even the school board itself is designed for the benefit of students, and that it would be only common sense to incorporate student input as a part of the decision-making process. Thus, due to a lack of awareness, however, I think that this partnership can only be realized if the school system takes responsibility and actively seeks input from students through the internet, such as with online polls, and in person as the district-wide conferences. Additionally, students perform better in schools when they feel invested in their education. For example, when the teachers at my school try to change the school from a block schedule to a traditional 1 to 6 schedule, the students organized together and attended staff meetings to protest. Ultimately, the staff and students reached an acceptable consensus of a mixed block and 1 to 6 schedule. When input isn't taken, however, such as when many students at my school protested against the incompetent AP psychology teacher, and the counselors told us they could do nothing about it, prompting many to simply drop the class, students feel discouraged. Thus, it is imperative that the school system seek out student input before major policy changes are made. Thank you for your time. And I will now turn this over to Thomas.
Thanks.
Basically, what we've come here today for is to voice our opinions about concerns that thousands of students have come forward to voice. RightToLearn has been a project that Youth Voice has been conducting, in which many students have come forward and they voiced their concerns about their schools and things that they feel need reassessment. Basically, the 4 of the 5 of us were top storytellers in the RightToLearn campaign. And then one of us was actually most of us, but one of us was a really well, which is actually Sarah, she was a really well organized day of action planner, and so she's here as well with us. Basically, if you have any questions or things you'd like to discuss, we'd be more than happy to talk them over with you guys. Other than that, we are finished, so thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how the organization works?
Youth Voice is an umbrella corporation. They organize students or youth around many topics. everything from poverty to current issues, topics in the media, education, religion, big issues like abortion. They organize youth around many things, and they allow them to voice their opinions about them. Right to Learn was one of the campaigns for education, and it was simply just to bring students forward so they can have a stronger voice and be heard. So, pretty much.
Members, questions?
Well, thank you for coming, and I do value, the input that you have. In fact, practically all the opinions or recommendations you have supported by some form of evidence up and down the states and nationally, the block scheduling, high quality teacher, no question about it, active engagement of your voice in some decision making. My question has to do with, okay, your organization, do you meet regionally? And how do, let's say I have a high school, how do students get involved?
Students have been participating through the internet. Actually, in November, when we conducted the first part of the campaign, we called students to, we basically sent out information to students who are already involved in youth noise and who are interested in the education area of it. Basically, they got as many students as they could to come forward and write stories or voice concerns about whatever they wanted to talk about, and they submitted it on the internet. And then at the end of that particular section of the campaign, we tallied up everybody and went through and organized all the stories, all the concerns in different categories. Some of the higher or more obvious concerns had to do with funding and higher qualified teachers and security in schools, violence prevention, things like that. But mainly, students were able to just come forward through the internet, and because most schools have computer access or libraries too, it was a convenient way for everybody to meet up. And then with the Day of Action plan, we were able to organize students throughout the state on April 18th to come forward and protest the proposed budget cuts. So it's been regionally, it's been citywide, statewide, it's the internet, so it's worldwide, so it's been hopefully very effective. Any other questions?
Yeah, just a question about, I guess, some of the process. I know that it sounds like you discussed a number of very important issues. I guess just terrific. I very much commend you for that and encourage you to continue to do that. How do you, once you have those discussions and once you formulate ideas, what happens to those? Where do they go? And then more specifically, I'm just curious, like, what are the issues, obviously, we're all concerned about, talking a lot about is the dropout issue, and wonder, is that one of the issues that you guys have discussed, and is there a way to at some point hear some of your thoughts around that particular issue?
Well, first I would like to say we really appreciate coming here today, and we would be more than happy if we could organize another trip up here to speak again on other topics or issues that you guys would like to hear about. We had over 800 students come forward in the original piece of the campaign. Topics varied to all kinds of things. My personal story was about, I submitted a story about how my 6th period teacher, my technology teacher, just simply, he's retiring next year, and he didn't really care too much for, the students who themselves didn't care. So basically half the class decided not to show up, and he figured that the rest of the class didn't really need to be taught. As for things like dropout rates and stuff like that, I imagine there were probably quite a few students who voiced their opinions about that, and I imagine we could bring something up or bring something with us if we were to come up here again. So.
Well, I would just again encourage you to continue to do that. You'd be a valuable voice in the debate. I think we need to hear more from a student's perspective on so
Thank you.
Great. Any other comments or questions? I know I speak for all of us, and thank you all for being here today, but even more than that, thanking you for your work on the campaign and your continued work to, as Mr. Jones said, to bring student voice into our debate, into the important debates of the district and the school level. So thank you very much.
Thank you very
really
much.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ken?
Not a question, just a comment. They've offered to come back or had any interest in some areas. Do you have an interest